Okay, we are live. So, good evening, everyone. So, we have today with us the students from SDA Bocconi Asia Center, Mumbai, and we have Gadre, who is a second year student at SDA Bocconi, and Mihir, who is a first year student there. So, they will be sharing with us their experiences with SDA Bocconi, and they will also be sharing some tips on how to about the application process for SDA Bocconi. So, as you might be knowing, the phase two of phase three of application process is currently running, and 20th, I think 20th is the last day for application, right? So this session will be very helpful for you guys who are targeting SDA Bocconi. So you'll get to know the first-hand experience of how the campus life, how the curriculum is there. So if you guys have any queries or questions, do post in the chat box, and we'll take it up with the students, right? So first of all, welcome for this session. So it's I think you'll be able to provide some good insights to our students, right? So before even we start, right? So maybe you guys can start off with your basic background so that students will know. Maybe they will be able to relate more to your backgrounds and your academic background and something that about yourself before you have joined the MBA school, right? So maybe you can start with say.
Yeah, sure. So, hi everyone, I'm Gadre and I joined SD. So, I'm in the second year and I'll be passing out of the college soon. Before joining IMB, I have done my BCom and I'm essentially a commerce student and I've mostly worked in finance and BFSI. I was also pursuing my chartered accountancy. So I have done two levels of that and I've finished my articleship and I was working in risk advisory essentially. So that is basically my background. And I was working for a few years before I decided
That is
to
basically
pursue
my
my
background.
MBA.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no, that's it. So yeah, that is basically where I worked, and I live in Mumbai. So that is why SDA was always a very favorite choice of mine because I get to stay at home. But even then, a lot of the things about SDA Bocconi Asia Center really attracted me. So especially the International Master in Business program has the curriculum and the kind of subjects and the fact that international faculty is coming from Italy for each of the courses is an extremely lucrative sort of offer. So yeah, that's about it from me.
Cool. Mihir, maybe you can add something about yourself.
Yeah, sure. First of all, good evening to everyone. Am I audible?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah. I am Mihir Kaslikar. I come from Pune. So before joining this IMB program, I completed my graduation as a mechanical engineer in 2018. Post that, I was working with an MNC called Atlas Copco, which is into manufacturing of industrial compressors. And working there for more than 2.5 years, I was itching to level up my skills as well as trying to get new opportunities and wanted to challenge myself. So that's where I started looking for MBA courses across India as well as abroad. But then, as we all know, there was a factor that came in everyone's lives, and it affected all of our decision makings, which was COVID. So during that time, I was looking for institutions and programs that could give or provide me with maximum international exposure as well as giving me that MBA degree. So that's when I ended up looking for Bocconi and its course in International Masters in Business. And yeah, my course started last year in June, and it's been one great, challenging, wonderful year. And I'm already looking forward to the next year.
Great. So maybe can you also tell our aspirants about your admission process, your application process, and your interview experience?
Yeah. So essentially, I had appeared for all the exams, which are the exams, that is your CAT. I also had an NMAT score, and I had also appeared for a Bocconi test. So essentially, all of these examinations help you get a score on the basis of which your profile will be analyzed. It is a profile based call, which means if there are other things that you bring to the table which are very attractive as an application, those are considered when you are kind of judged as a student, as a prospective student for this course. So essentially, it started with the course, with the exam figures that we were submitting. Then there was an SOP and a few questions for which we had submitted essays. And on the basis of that, there was also an interview call. So my interview call was for around 20 to 25 minutes. It was um, asking me questions. So I remember on that day the budget had come out, and I do have a finance specialization, which is why I was asked questions related to that. Also about my work experience, about different aspects of my personality which I want to bring out in an interview. So yes, that was kind of how it went ahead, and yeah, that was my experience for the IMB application.
Mihir, can you also share your experience?
Sure. So talking about my application process, it was quite different to any MBA, typical MBA aspirant, because I did not appear for any exams like for CAT or NMAT. And I think that is where Bocconi is very unique in terms of its application process, because it has its own entrance exam, which is a Bocconi test. So I applied through Bocconi test. It's a very nice test where it judges your numerical verbal ability, and the test is like the questions in the test adapt to your responses. So if you're marking correct, then the level of questions increase. If you're not marking them right, then the questions remain at the same level, and that's how you are judged. So I appeared for Bocconi test, and I cleared that test, post which I got a call for an interview. My experience of an interview was pretty similar to that of Saib, but I would like to say on point that during the interview, the interviewer focuses more on how you are as a person, and the skill set that you would bring to an MBA class. Because over here, one of the USPs is bringing in diversity. So it's important what perspective you are bringing to the table, how you're going to contribute to the class as well as to your peers, and that's how you are judged in the interviews.
Okay, cool. So I think both of you have made a point that it is a profile-based call, right? So uh, can you guys like give any ballpark figure as to how your scores were in CAT, in MAT, or any the exams that were accepted in SDA Bocconi?
Sure. So I had CAT was not. I did not submit my CAT figure exam scores. I'd submitted NMAT, which was around 244, and I had also appeared for the Bocconi test. So for which we don't get the exam results, we are just accepted or not, or maybe even that is not given. It's just a interview call after that, and cumulatively as a composite, the entire application is judged. So Bocconi test does not give out results, but NMAT was around 244.
Great.
Also, I would just like to add a point here. Although our website mentions the typical scores that you need in CAT or NMAT to get an interview call, but those are not hard call figures. If your profile is like it has some extra thing that you have achieved over the years, or through work experience or through your graduation years, that could well be enough to get you an interview call.
Great. So what another thing, were you guys offered any scholarship, or what is the scholarship process at SDA Bocconi?
Mihir, do you want to take this?
Yeah, sure. So we have a range of scholarship that is provided on the fees. It ranges from 30 to 80%. Yes, I did get a scholarship, but as per the rules, we are not allowed to reveal the exact percentage of scholarship that one receives. But I would say that if your profile is good, there are very high like you're very highly likely to get a scholarship. We also have something called Dean's Scholarship, which is purely based on how you perform in the academics once you start your IMB course. and apart from that, we have something for women in leadership as well. So these are the type of scholarship that our college offers. But yes, we are not allowed to reveal the exact amount of scholarship that one receives.
Okay, cool. So I think Sai has been with SDA for around 1.5 year or so, and you have been for around 8 months, if I'm not wrong. Correct. So can you guys like share your experience with the college so far?
Yeah, sure. So I think this is a little, it's going to be bittersweet for me to talk about because I will be graduating very soon. The experience has been wonderful to begin with, but to talk a little bit more about it, one of the things which I really like about the course and which has constantly driven me is that it's a combination of both the professors that come to Bocconi as well as the peers that you work with. So not only are the subjects interesting, and there is like a case-based learning where there will be open discussions going on in class. There is nothing that you cannot say or an opinion that you cannot give, and the professors are extremely open to hearing your perspective. Also, it is great to know to talk to someone who is outside the Indian perspective and who can tell you this is what is happening around the world, or this is the trend, or this is what is upcoming. Additionally, just as Mihir mentioned before, the diversity that everyone brings into this college gives it that uh, kind of that feeling of wholesomeness where you're getting to know different perspectives and also what your strengths are and what you can take help from others for. So that has essentially been, it's like a mixed bag. You every day you go to college and there are a variety of things happening. There are clubs and committees and there are extracurricular activities. So it's mostly a busy day when you're doing this course.
So you have mentioned about your international learning experience, right? So I think you're referring to
Yeah.
the Milan term. So can you expand more on what you have done during the Milan term and your expenses maybe? What's the
Yeah, sure.
cost for the Milan term?
Sure. So essentially, 4 months is a period that we go to Milan for, which is the parent campus of SDA Bocconi School of Management. And this typically happens between September to December of your second year. There it is kind of a similar format to what we are doing here, except that before going, we select our electives and the subjects that we want to study over there. We get to interact with professors who have come to campus, also different other professors. And of course, it's a mixed class, which means there are students from master's degrees from SDA Bocconi School of Management who are also taking these classes. There is a lot of interaction that happens with international students where we are working on projects. There are simulations. There may also be live projects or internships that may manifest from this. So, and of course, there is also the lure of living in a city like Milan, which since I've already been there and I've stayed there for 4 months, it has a special place in my heart. It feels like home. So I'd like to just give a ballpark figure for the expenses because, of course, individually it will defer to how you choose to spend. But it will be around for a period of 4 months. It would be around 4 lakhs or so, and of course, it can go upward of that if during the breaks or midterm breaks that we are given, a student chooses to travel or something like that. So that is essentially how the Milan experience is.
Great. Mihir, maybe you can share your experience with STA.
Yeah, sure. So it's been almost now 9 months, and we are also nearing our term end, the year end. And yeah, my experience has been a wonderful one as well, but it has been extremely challenging. But I'm happy that it has brought the best out of me. Over the 9 months, I have learned so many things, not just academically, but also how we have developed networks with people, and how we have discussed many things in class apart from studies that helps you become a complete human being. Because MBA is something that is also related with how you work well with people. uh, Bringing in your technical skills matters, but also it's important how you form a team, work in a team, understand the dynamics of the team, and then work in a goal that is suitable for everyone to achieve. So my experience has been a great one, and yeah, I'm sure that the next year would be no different.
Okay. So, coming to the campus, right? So, one concern that students have is that SDA Bocconi does not have any campus per se, as in the traditional terms, right? So, it's based in Powai, right? And so, how is your what is your take on this? How did that affect, or how did that enhance your learning at SDA?
So I would say that yeah, there is a perception that like people think that we don't have a campus. But if you see the batch size that we have here, the senior batch that's there, it's around 200 students. We have a batch of around 250 students, and the amount of facilities that we have at our expense are more than sufficient. And actually, it helps us to build stronger bonds with people. And I don't think there is we don't have any lack of facilities that aid like hinders our growth. So the facilities that we have are at par with our parent school, the classrooms that we have, and the teachers, the professors here do prefer that kind of teaching environment. So that's all I would like to say.
So, how are the hostel facilities? Are they provided by the college, or do the students have to arrange for themselves?
Uh, Talking about hostel facilities, yes, the college does provide hostel facility. The hostel campus is around a kilometer away from the campus. It's in Hiranandani, Pawai, and the facilities there are state of the art facilities. It's provided on double sharing or triple sharing basis, but it's not compulsory for students to avail the facilities. Like myself, we have taken accommodation somewhere else, like the flat the my batchmates, some of us who came together. There are a lot of options that are available around college, so we have the flexibility of choosing the hostel facility, as well as you can look for yourself as well.
So, what are the different activities or different clubs that you can be a part of during your 2 year term, 2 year tenure at SDA?
So I'll take a little bit of that. So we essentially have what is the placement committee. So a lot of the student-run committees and clubs is what I'll talk about. Like we have the placement committee, which is made up of students that are supporting the career development services in the placement activities. Along with that, there is also the media committee, which looks into everything related to media communication, social media engagement, all of that relating to the college. And then there are a group of academic clubs. So there are 8 to 9 clubs which are essentially in different areas of specializations that the students may be interested in. So these academic clubs aim to support the students in their learning development for branding and outreach and various activities relating to the specialization. This is like consulting, HR, finance, marketing, all of these clubs. And the students are free to join whichever club they want to, wherever they feel that they need that extra help, either for placements or just generally learning in general. So it may be anything. You are doing a competition and therefore you want to learn something more. You can join a club and you can be a part of the activities that the club does. Additionally, we also have extracurricular clubs like a sports club, co-curricular club, so cultural club. Then there is social club. So there are a variety of clubs for different purposes. Apart from that, there are external clubs where we have TEDx Bocconi, we have HULT. and we have Toastmasters that we are affiliated with. So there are a lot of activities in college. As long as you're up for it, you have time for it. There are a lot of activities that you can engage in. There is, of course, like the student life committee as well, which are the class representatives that take care of other aspects of a student's life. So, yeah, these are the several clubs and
Okay.
committees.
So it sounds like you have a lot of activities. So how is your curriculum, right? So how do you strike a balance between all these activities and your course curriculum, and how is the rigor of the curriculum?
You do you want to take this
Yeah,
first?
sure, why not? So, like as Sai explained everything, I would like to add the major objectives of having such clubs is uh, providing students, providing people who have similar interests to come together and build on something which is like you can apply that other than what you learn in the class. So we have activities planned well in advance. So all the clubs plan their L&D sessions or the guest lectures well in advance. We have our schedule, lecture schedule with us in advance. So it's all about time management. And I think when people are interested in things, it doesn't matter how difficult it is for them to attend those sessions, because ultimately it's the interest that will drive them towards attending those club activities. And it's fun because when like people come, when it's not a class, when the discussions are open, when there are no boundaries, it's a very free atmosphere that everyone thrives to be in.
Great. So I think this question is better answered by Sai. So you have mentioned that you can do some specializations, right, in the second year. So what are the different specializations that are offered at SDA Bocconi?
Yeah, so the specialization based on what you may want to, go further in, or if there is any dual specialization that you want to do. Depending on that, there are several options available. So personally, for me, what I'm doing is consulting in finance because I have um, past experience in that. And there is also marketing, there is HR, there is operations, and there are several other, so these are the different specializations that a student can opt for. It essentially means that the diploma that we get from SDA Bocconi School of Management everyone has the International Master in Business degree, diploma. However, your subjects or the electives that you take in the second year will mostly be centered around the areas that you want to specialize in. So that is kind of how this system works.
Okay, cool. So can you like explain about like the teaching methodology that is followed at SDA? So is it a case based or theory based, discussion based? So what how exactly is the teaching there?
So personally, say across the different subjects that I have taken as well as that were there. So it is case based and it is essentially like an entire syllabus or a course outline will be provided to the students where they will be highlighting what are the different topics, what are the different areas that the professor is going to deep dive into, as well as different readings. So there will be pre-readings for classes, there will be assignments. Some of the subjects are based on assignments, some are simulations, some may just be actual live projects that we do with corporates. So we have different company representatives coming and giving us live issues or problems that they are facing, which they would like us to do some work on. And our recommendations are then they taken forward by them as well. So this happens both here in Mumbai as well as in the Milan semester that we take there. So it gives us different kinds of experiences, and there is a lot of work that involves essentially working in a team. So what I feel personally is that the teamwork has given me a very clear picture of how it will be like working with a bigger team or under in a certain department later in life. So that kind of training is essential because you're not going to work in isolation. You work with people, so that definitely helps. as well as interacting with the professors who come with ages of experience, and sometimes puts into perspective whether what we're thinking is right or wrong. And either way, it can be quite enriching.
So you have mentioned about live projects, right? So are there any courses that are taken by industry leaders or industry persons who come in and then take any courses, or is it just the projects that are being done in collaboration with companies?
So we had a few representatives that had come for a project. So that is one part. Another is live projects, which are kind of smaller internships where you apply in a company and candidates get shortlisted, and they will be working on those projects side by side along with their coursework and everything. So those live projects are separate from what is the projects that we're doing as part of the curriculum. Along with that, we have a lot of guest lectures from different experts that are coming in different areas. And this sometimes forms part of our course structure. Sometimes it is over and above as part of our learning and development. So there are also different speakers that come, and it may be either people who have already been alumni, who are alumni, or it may be those different companies that we have kind of collaborated with and are coming in to bring in their experience. So yeah, it is a wide range of activities there.
Okay.
But,
So you have mentioned that. Okay.
yes,
Go
just
ahead.
one point I would like to add. You were asking specifically about any courses or live projects that were handed. So I would like to mention we had KPMG as well as Grant Thornton coming, like in terms of workshops that we had in the field of data analytics, financial modeling, and Six Sigma. So students were given opportunity to take up those courses that were delivered online and in college, so that they can improve their skills, and we were given certifications in these courses.
Okay, cool. So are there any, you have mentioned about certification courses, right? So are there anything that students get to do beyond the course curriculum at SDA? Co-curricular activities, not extra, but co-curricular.
Yes, so good example would be the TEDx and the HULT competitions that we have. So basically, HULT is a competition where every year there is a business problem given out to the students, and this year we participated in the competition where the focus was on developing a business idea that leads to better sustainability in terms of fashion industry. And just to give you an idea, the team that I participated with, we won the college competition, and now we will be preparing for the regionals. So it was a great experience where we could apply what we learned in the classes and put it into practice. So these are some of the activities that we indulge in.
Uh, Congratulations and all the best for your competition. Okay. And speaking about, let's talk about internship placements, the most important things that students look for in a B school, right? So, Sai, can you tell me where you have interned, and here you can add maybe where you are going to intern, and Sai can also add about her internship experience and any pre-placement offer that she might have gotten. So, go ahead.
Sure. So I was a product intern at ICICI Bank. So ICICI Bank hires for management trainee position, and that is where I did my internship for 2 months. Essentially, the internship experience in general was actually it was a great experience because I learned a lot. And the entire internship program is extremely structured and therefore gives me the opportunity to work with a lot of experienced industry stalwarts. And I remember like my internship final presentation. So in my internship, we were given a problem statement and we had to work for 2 months of the problem statement, which required primary research and secondary research. And what we were doing is essentially working to find a solution for a problem that the bank is actually facing live. So there is a kind of fulfillment which comes with also it's not simulated or it's not fictitious. It is actually a real issue that we are working on. And because of that, my entire 2 month experience was extremely enriching. I learned a lot. In fact, I was able to use a lot of that even in the classes later that I took in my second year, and to further try and dig in and understand whether I could have done something better or just as a continuous improvement process. So, as a part of the internship, I was supposed to give a final presentation on the basis of which I was evaluated, and I was given a pre-placement offer, which I have accepted since then, and I will be joining ICICI Bank product team in June. So yeah, that is my internship experience.
Okay, congratulations on the PPO. So Mihir, you can add on like how where you're going to intern and maybe something on your internship process as an interview for the internship process.
Yeah. So I'll be interning at a startup called launchbox.ai. Actually, I'm very excited because how we have seen chat gpt come into our lives. So this is a bit of towards in the same domain. It's a startup working in the field to provide employment as a service, and it also is working on building some ai apps. So it will be a great opportunity, and it will be an added challenge, because in startups you get to learn a lot as compared to the MNCs, where you have a very rigid job description and job profiles. So I'm looking forward to it. And the internship process, for summer internship process, has been a good one at college. We have had companies like EY, ICICI Bank, uh, a lot of startups, Swiggy, Nykaa come, and people have got roles where they like for example, some people were focused on finance, marketing, so they have got roles what they were looking for.
Okay, great. So Mihir had told about the companies that had come for the internship process. Maybe so I can add on the companies that have come for the final placements, and is the placement done for the batch, and how are the things looking?
Sure. So we also had like a lot of consulting, finance, marketing, different companies coming in, which includes EY, Deloitte, KPMG. Then there is we also had Nykaa, Unilever in the entire e-commerce space, and in finance space we've had ICICI Bank as well, and Nomura and AB and Bev. So we've had a host of companies coming. And since we go for the Milan semester between the months of September and December, so our placements are currently going on as well. And over 70% of the batch is placed, and the placements are continuing right now as well.
Okay, so you have mentioned about Milan, right? So can students actually sit for placements in Milan, or how can they get
Yeah.
into like any foreign placements there?
Right. So, yeah, they can. And so basically, there is a Bocconi and Jobs fair, which happens every year in Milan around the time that we are there, which means that it's essentially an employment fair, job fair, which happens in a lot of international campuses where you can walk in, you can find out more about the company, the job role, where the company is there to give you information, and of course, application on the online portal. Uh, you can do that, and there are further processes which happen. Of course, just want to give a disclaimer. What happens with international job kind of offers is that there is a requirement of foreign language. There are certain requirements which those companies come with. If you're a candidate that meets those requirements, and you have the kind of candidature that they're looking for, then of course you're free to apply and carry the process forward. So students do apply through Bocconi and Jobs Fair as well for international placements.
Okay, sorry.
Hello.
So
Yeah.
can you like tell me about like the course fee and expenditure, typical expenditure, including your accommodation, Milan semester, and all right? So what is the typical expenditure budget that a student is looking at when he is going to join SDA?
Um, Me, do you want to take this?
Uh, like for Milan, I am not sure about the
Oh,
expenses. We have an estimate, but the course fee here is 18 lakhs plus 2 lakh admission fees plus GST. But as I mentioned earlier, it in for Milan the tuition fees is already covered. You have to just bear your living as well as the expenses you would incur for your food, and it comes down to around 4 lakhs as you mentioned. Sai, is it right?
yeah, yeah, something 4 lakhs and a little above that, depending on your personal choices. And of course, if in Mumbai you are going to be living in, let's say, a hostel, then those fees as well will come in, as well as, of course, food and etc. So the tuition fees will be something around 21, and then there will be separately the amounts that you pay for accommodation and other expenses in India and in Milan. I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Okay. Yeah, the tuition fees does cover the book expenses and all the other things, right? Milan tuition fee, the book expenses, and I think that's it. So the student needs to take care of the accommodation and food part both in Milan and Mumbai. Correct.
Absolutely, yeah.
Great. So before we proceed, right? So what is your size from second year and Mihir is from first year, right? So how is the cross batch interaction? What is the strength of your batch?
Yeah, so we are for the IMB 4 batch, which is going to graduate soon. We are around 200 people, a little less than 200. And so essentially, we have different classes that we are divided into, and of course, our schedules work according to that. But interaction, there is absolutely no dearth of interaction when it comes to between the different batches as well as within the batch, because we have different committees and clubs and a lot of activities that keep happening that are for all both the batches as well as for all students. So within the clubs and committees, we are interacting with each other constantly, working with each other, and even when it comes to within a certain class as well, a lot of the groups, academic groups that we get to be a part of are based on our profile and to ensure that there is a lot of mixing and diversity being brought in where there are people from different backgrounds coming in. So a lot of those ways you tend to spend time with each other. Sometimes when you get to know that a person is maybe great at a certain domain or field or industry, you would also want to collaborate with them for competitions, case competitions that we take part of, maybe on Unstop or through different colleges. So those are the different ways in which we tend to interact with each other, yeah, and are part of different um, essentially activities.
Okay. Uh, Mihir, maybe you can add from your perspective also.
So our batch size is somewhere around 250 to 260, and we have been divided into a batch of three. But as Sai said, like there is no short of interaction that we have between batches because we stay in the same campus. We work on various competitions, external competitions with people from different batches as well, and then there are club activities where we get to interact with people from other batches as well. And the batch it has 50-50 representation of males and females and academically also we have very diverse representation from engineering, from science, from commerce. So it's a good mix where a lot of like we'll get to learn due to diversity, and this helps in the in class conversations as well when we are discussing anything on a case or anything about a topic. The perspectives that everyone brings according to their academic background adds on to your understanding as well. You learn how to look at things from others perspectives, and that's how it's done here.
So Mihir had mentioned about diversity, right? So maybe you can you give some examples like how diverse is your batch? Is it mainly of engineering students, or how is your batch direction? What is the lowest experience that students have? Are there any freshers, or what is the highest experience that the students have? Let's say 5, 6, 7 years maybe. And then what are the different streams, undergraduate stream from which the students are from?
Right. So we have around 40% of freshers, and we have people which experience, of course, ranging from 1 to 5 years, or some of them even a little more. And there is actually, so highest representation is, of course, engineers and people from science background, and then there is around 20% people from commerce, and management is another 10%. So there is equal in terms of science and commerce or management, and then there is a small part which come have arts background. Then there are different other fields that people come from, which is architecture, or very few, but yeah, like humanities, or fashion, or those different fields that people are coming from. And kind of the average age is around 23 to 24 years of age. So that is it. Like, there are a lot of freshers also in the batch, but there are people who come with a lot of experience as well. So it always helps to have that mix where a person who has never worked brings in the fresh ideas, but a person who has worked brings in the feasibility or practicality that needs to be also seen. So yeah, it comes with a mixed bag.
Great. So you have different diverse students, right? So how is the curriculum? Let's say, do commerce graduate find the curriculum easier, or how is the curriculum? Is it difficult for some set of students, or is it easier to any let's say science background, or students who might have done BBA? How is the curriculum, and like what is the difficulty level for each kind of student?
So yeah, quite naturally, like if I have to talk through my experience, coming from an engineering background and then learning about all those finance fundamentals, it was initially difficult, but that's how professors here make it easy. The on like the case discussions that we have through various assignments that we have, and most importantly, the formation of groups that we have brings in equal representation from someone from finance, someone from commerce, someone from HR field, someone who has no experience. So working in a group like this, where someone experiences or specializes in some skill, and the other is trying to learn, helps to bridge that gap. And that's how we have learned here the subjects that we find difficult, and it has been a good experience.
Um, yeah, I just want to add just one thing. That essentially what happens is that at the beginning of our course, we are said that everyone's here to learn. So what he maybe found difficult with finance, I found difficult with artificial intelligence and data analytics. So yeah, that is what we kind of are there for each other to make sure that we get pushed through. And we also have professors who actually expect us not to know, let's say, coding, but how to analyze the results of a certain analyze the certain results and make decisions as managers based on that. So what we're here to learn is management, and actually everyone is a novice in that. So it's great that at that level we are all at the same place.
Great. Uh, Prince from chat is saying hi to say, how are you? Sai.
Um,
So I think.
I
So is
can't
there
see it.
anything?
Yeah.
Okay. So is there anything that you want to add? Let's say students who are aspirants, right? So is there anything that will be helping the students in their application process and interview process?
Um, I think when it comes to the interview application process, of course, I think just be authentic in whatever you are saying, or whatever you're putting forth. You just need to be confident about where you're coming from, what you have done till now, and what all it has taught you. And especially don't be scared of showing what you may have failed at, because there are learnings involved in each aspect, be it success or failures. And if you're able to show that you learned something from it and you went forth and you actually have become a better professional because of it, that is something that the college appreciates, and they would actually want uh, uh, people with different skill sets to come in. So I think being confident about your story, what is your learning, and what is your skill set is very essential. I was a little nervous, and I think I would have done better if I was more confident at that time.
Uh, so you got in. So I think you did well in your interview
Yeah.
process. So how exactly? So can you explain on the interview? Like, is it like based on candidate or anything that the faculty expects the students to know, at least anything common that the faculty expects the student to know, or the interview process will be like based on the candidate's profile and application?
Yeah, as you said, it's completely based on the candidate. But one thing I would like every aspirant to know is, before applying, you should be clear. You should analyze yourself well, because a lot of questions that are asked on the basis of how would you react in this situation. These questions generally don't arise in interviews where you have to talk about what you have done in the past. You have to talk about your CV, your graduation, but some situational questions, how would you react in a particular situation, you'll be able to only answer them well if you know yourself. So take your time, analyze well what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, most importantly weaknesses, and be free to discuss with the interviewer. Also have short term and long term goals clear in your mind. You don't have to be very rigid with them, but at least it shows that you have certain direction in what you want to achieve. And yeah, doing these basic things can make you sail.
So we'll take some questions, right? Sheetal Shah is asking how are the placements at SDA. I think we have touched upon. Maybe you can just give a brief overview of, let's say, the bird's eye view, right? Median, mean, median, mode, average, and all the stuff.
Right. So, with the placements, currently our placements are going on, but we do have an interim placement report on our website. So, that of course you can refer to. And that has a list of companies that have come in for the placements as well as our highest package, along with like what are the different fields which the students are opting for. So, yeah, I think because it keeps on like updating and changing quite regularly. So I think for the sake of consistency, it will be better if you refer to the interim placement report because that is the latest updated one.
Great.
And yeah,
So I'll be sharing the link for the interim. So just this is the interim placement report for 2023, right? So I'll
yes,
be
correct.
sharing the link to the students. So
Yeah.
on the similar note, right? So Mihir, can you tell me about your summer placements or internship placements? How was they, and how was your experience?
Yeah, so the summer internship placement process for us, it's nearly done. Like everyone has got summer internship process, and people, as I already mentioned, will be interning at companies like EY, ICICI Bank, and this will be a great experience for freshers because before you actually turn up for final placements, it's better to have some kind of exposure, and these 2 months of summer internship will be very handy for them. I would just like to add a little bit. We have something called CSR internship as well, which is very unique. So after the summer internship process, we have a mandatory 2 weeks of corporate social responsibility internship that everyone has to compulsorily participate in, and actually it helps us make a complete human being as well. So it's an added advantage that everyone has at our disposal here.
Okay, I think this is the first time I'm hearing about CSR compulsory internship in a B school in India, right? I think that's a great initiative. We'll take one more question. So there is Manasa who is asking, I have cleared my Bocconi test. Any tips for my interview, which is on 18th of this month? as well as I'm on the fence to choose SDA or not. Could you help me on this?
Sure. So I think one tip, I think tips for the interview are simple. It is essentially knowing your CV through and through, your profile through and through, and that can mean work experience or anything that you've learned, what you consider success or failures that you would like to kind of highlight. And as Mir mentioned before, there are situational questions, behavioral questions that may be asked to you. So they want to see what kind of a personality you are, what are your strengths, weaknesses, and what are your future plans like, what do you want to really achieve going forward. So those are some of the things that they're looked into. And of course, if you are coming with a certain kind of background, which may have some work experience, or if you have any specific kind of experience there, then please do expect questions related to that. So I did get some questions related to the work experience I have. I worked in risk advisory, and in the different fields that I worked, I got questions related to that. So be very sure of kind of sitting and going through different things that you have done that you would actually like to talk about. And of course, there is different talks about like what are the other things that you may be interested in apart from professional interests. Um, and yes, if you are on the fence about SDA, I actually don't have a lot of information about you, so I don't know how I can help you. But of course, do consider certain things like the fact that there is an international exposure here, and the fact that SDA Bocconi School of Management is issuing the diploma that you're getting from here. So it is coming from SDA Bocconi, Italy campus, and that comes with a certain level of prestige. You get an access to an alumni network, which is invaluable according to me. And yes, of course, there is placements and everything that is happening, and it's a young college, right? So, and it's a batch of around 200 to 50 people, or maybe a little more next year. But that level, that entire well-knit batch that you get of people and of professors who are actually very eager to teach you, that is kind of invaluable. I think that it's a special benefit to get. I don't know how well I'm explaining it, but that is a benefit to have like a small group of people that you actually know pretty well and that will help you in the future and who you will help. So yeah.
So you have mentioned that you'll be all the students will be getting a diploma from the SDA Bocconi, the Italy campus, right?
Italy. Yeah.
Correct. So there is a follow-up question from Mansa. She's saying the SDA Bocconi is placed ranked sixth in internationally, but the Indian campus, while the placements like the salaries in the Indian campus are slightly lesser than what compared to other institutes. I think she's
Sure.
comparing
So
the placement reports across the campus to make her decision. So maybe
right, makes sense. So, as I said, like I do think that is a key factor in taking a decision. I think one thing to consider is first, like this is a young college, it's been 10 years. It's not a legacy IIM, so I think it will be a little unfair to compare with that. Having said that, what you do need to see and what we generally do see is the growth that we receive. So every year, the increase in the median or increase in the average placements is pretty remarkable, and that is something that needs to be considered. So if you are a person who's not especially happy with the average placements we've had in the last 2 years, do consider that it keeps on improving every year. So that is one factor. And yes, SDA Bocconi School of Management is ranked sixth globally, but it is also an extremely old campus and college. And we will get there, but I think we should be allowed some time. And it is with great students that come and form a part of this institution that makes it a great college. And that will, of course, help, turn the wheel. So, yeah.
yeah. So I think SDI started in 5 years back, almost. Yeah, 5 years back, right?
No, 10, 10, 11.
10. Okay, you're right. Oh, sorry, I might be mistaken. Correct. So, are there any like closing remark from you guys regarding the preparation for the interviews and your campus and college.
Regarding the interviews, I think Sai explained it beautifully. I don't think I can add anything better, but I would just like to point one thing. Once you are there in the interview, focus on explaining and bringing across a point that what value you'll bring to the class, what perspectives you'll bring to the class that will enable everyone around you to learn. If you're able to convey that to the interviewer, I think that will be a great value proposition, and that is how you should tackle the interviews, wherein you look not only talking about the qualities that you have, but also the qualities that will help everyone improve and the entire class to move ahead.
Okay, great. So I think Sai will be maybe she will feel emotional about your any parting remarks about your 2 years of experience from in SDA.
Yeah, so I think we unfortunately had to do a few months of our first year online. And that is something that we will always be jealous of our junior batch for because they got it offline. Having said that, those 2 years were extremely enriching because if you're coming in with a certain amount of zeal and enthusiasm, the amount of knowledge that you can take from this course is just unlimited. There is absolutely no limit to what all you can actually pursue and achieve, and you will get support from just about anywhere. So it if like let's hope that you get through the applications and the interview and you're about to start your IMB program. I think go in with the aim to just make the best out of it because these 2 years are going to be completely focused on probably transforming your professional journey. So yeah.
Cool. I think we have answered the queries also. So thank you very much for attending this session and sharing your experiences and tips in particular to the students, right? And from Cracku, we wish you that you will lot of success in your future endeavors, right?
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much.